Welcome back to another video. Bradford City have signed 2 players this week, got rid of a first teamer. What are your thoughts on this in the comments down below? Starting off with the first signing we made this week was Talaji Bowley. From what I know, he's an attacking left back. Hopefully he's agile. Technically he's what we need. We need an attacking left back who's got pace, can get down the wing, and hopefully can create chances for us. It's something we haven't had since probably 2017 when Meredith left. We haven't replaced him. We've had players like Chickson, Connor Wood. They weren't good enough. I can't remember who we've recently had. Rydell, not really good, ain't good enough. Folds weren't good enough, but I'll get into that in a bit. The worrying thing though with Talaji Bowler is he's injury prone and he's barely played in the last few years really. I think he's a young player, 23 around. So he made 12 appearances on loan at Rochdale before signing for Rotherham 17 months ago. He made 13 appearances last year with 4 of them in League One. So a fair few, but not a lot. He's had 2 sub outings in the Championship earlier this season, the last in Paul Warne's final game in September. So obviously Paul Warne seemed to rate him a fair bit. Matt Taylor's come in. He had a quad injury when Matt Taylor came in, but Colin Brammells took his place in the team since he came back with his injury. But it seems like he's been injured a fair bit as well. I don't know if that's his first injury, but he's not played a lot of games. My question is, why did he only play 12 games at Rochdale? Was it just a short-term deal in January? I don't know. Did he have a couple of injuries there? Did he have a couple of injuries at Rotherham? Did he just have that one quad injury? It's just a problem that we have had for a few years where we've brought in players who have had an injury track record or have a record of potentially getting more injuries. But with Mark Hughes as manager, we've had Liangol, who's been injury prone before for us this season, no injuries that we've known of. Abarisa, he's monitored him really well. He had a couple of injuries in his tenure. He had one last season, but he came back in the summer, but then picked up another for 3 months, was it? Came back in November, and he hasn't been injured since, touch wood. So he seems to be able to handle them well. He did last season with Pereira and Vernon. Walker, he's had a couple and handled them well. So he seems to be able to monitor injuries well, and that's one good thing with having an experienced manager like Hughes, who's managed at the top level. He understands that part of the game. So I'm just a bit worried about that. He obviously said he's happy, fan base, history of the club, all that we get from all of it. But Mark Hughes said he's a strong defender who thanks to a real willingness to get forward and attack, is equally as comfortable operating at wing back. Having already represented Rotherham in the Championship and League One, after previously spending time out on loan at Rochdale, he is well accustomed to senior football in the EFL and the standard required. Now, he's basically called him experienced when he isn't experienced. He's played a few games in League One with Rotherham and Rochdale, and a couple of games in the Championship, and I think one of them were off the bench, or maybe both of them were off the bench, which isn't experienced, and they ain't really playing at Championship or League One level, really. So he was the 5th signing in January, and I just don't feel like he's the right. I can't see it really working. So call me a pessimist, call me whatever you want, but I like the profile signing. But the fact that he's barely played and the fact that he's injury prone potentially is a bit of a worry because of our track record with signings like this. So there's red flags, but the green flags are brilliant. He's an attacking left back, and that's what we need. So hopefully it works. Obviously with the loan thing, a lot of fans are a bit sceptical with our loan signings. We're bringing in a load of loan players, and we've loaned out players of our own like Jake Young, like Folds. But I don't see a problem with it because yes, we're developing a Rotherham young player, but Folds, who was playing, wasn't good enough. He wasn't the player we wanted. If you liked him, good, tell me why in the comments down below. But the only reason I can see, he always give passion, he always give 100% effort. I'd say I don't think I really saw him give up or not give his full effort. But quality, I don't think he's got the quality to play for us. At the top in the League 2, in League 1, hopefully, touch wood, if we go up this season, I don't think he's got that quality. He ain't attack minded. His crossing, it takes him a fair few until he gets a good one. On the ball, he looks like he's got two right feet. I just don't think he was good enough at the level, apart from the fact that he's from Bradford. That's the only thing I can see. So it helps us move forward. I like the ruthlessness from Hughes to get rid of him. Obviously, it wasn't as blunt as that. He won't say I'm getting rid of you, but obviously, if he don't, Folds didn't want to play by the sounds of it because he felt Talaji Bowler was coming in to start, and obviously, if you're bringing in a lone player, they're going to start ahead of you. So it's good that he's going out to Harrogate to get that loan experience and to get experience to develop, and hopefully they can develop him well, get him, working to a good standard. Simon Weaver will probably get him working defensively. And he's obviously had players like Jermaine Headley and developed them well. So hopefully he can develop there and get loads of games behind him. Here, I don't think we can develop him all we want, but will he help us? That's the thing, and I like what Hughes has done because he's gone alright, he wants to go, but also it'll help us because we can bring in Talaji, who's good enough for our level, and it'll help Folds grow. So I like the deal, and I like the fact that he's gone on loan and we brought in a loan player, so we're not committed to him. And if Folds does well in the summer, he can come back in, and Rydell's a decent cover option. We brought in Adam Clayton. Now the problem I have with this, he's 34. Now obviously Gary Jones was 34. There's good examples of experienced players who come in and do well. There's also bad experienced players who come in and don't do well. Good experienced players who come in and don't do well. And there's been many cases of that at this club and at many other clubs. Now the queries I have with it is Doncaster fans obviously came out, and whether it's sour grapes or whatever it is, I don't know. They've come out and said his legs are gone, he ain't going to be able to run a midfield, and with Smallwood in it, that's the problem. Smallwood can't do that. Smallwood's a player who breaks up play, plays an easy pass, simple pass to the side to Gilead, who can drive the ball forward and carry it, or Sutton, who can do that, or Sadebe hopefully when he's back. Whereas Clayton seems to be that type of player too, who will win the ball back and then play a simple pass, from what I know and what I've heard. It brings experience, it brings leadership. That's good. That's what we need. I like that Hughes has recognised that, but we need leadership. We need someone with experience at a higher level. Obviously, Smallwood gives that, and if we've got Derbyshire now, he's been brought in to do that. Kelly, I think he played at Europa League. So we've got a bit more experience in the team now, and a bit more leadership with a couple of captains. Harry Lewis has come out. He wants to give a bit of leadership, and he wants to improve that in his game. So obviously Hughes has noticed that, and that's what we need. And we've gone out and brought in players who can give that, but also some young players who give us that balance. So I like that aspect, but the fact that the truth of the matter is, Doncaster got rid of him for a reason. I don't think he was very good at Birmingham before he went to Doncaster. And I think he's had a couple of injuries as well. So if he's coming in as a backup to Smallwood and they'll rotate between each other, good. If he's coming to play alongside Smallwood, alarm bells are ringing, because them two together aren't going to work. Both players aren't going to be, they're not engines, they're not going to run a lot, and they're not good enough creatively. If you're playing a diamond, Smallwood's at the heart of it and Clayton's more advanced, he ain't creative, he ain't gonna be that type of player who we want it there. If he's playing at the heart of the diamond in a 4/6 like Smallwood has been, Smallwood would then be playing as a box-to-box, the creative player, and that's not what Smallwood is either. So either way there, you're not getting the best out of either of them, and I think the best way this signing works is if he's a rotation player with Smallwood, and it gives Smallwood a bit more competition, and maybe he saw that Ryan East would do that as his signing, and he don't realise that, and now this next week before the window ends, Ryan East maybe goes out on loan, and Clayton becomes that player who Mark Hughes thought Ryan East was going to be. But at 19, 20, 21 he ain't going to be, is he really? But it'll be good around the dressing room. Like I said, he brings experience and leadership. He's played at a high level, but you worry about his legs going. So yeah, he seems excited to play it. He had played close to 250 games for Middlesbrough, including 34 games in the 2016-17 Premier League season. Came through Man City's academy under Mark Hughes and Glenn Hodges in 2008, and then had 2 seasons in the Championship with Leeds. He's also played at Huddersfield as well, but he seemed quite happy coming. He seemed like he wanted to do what he wanted to do, which is getting us up, which is what they've all said. But Mark Hughes said, "We are delighted to be bringing Adam to the club as our January window continues. He's a vastly experienced player who has operated at all professional levels of the English footballing pyramid, making close to 500 career appearances. On the field, he is fiercely determined midfield player and a leader who will add a lot to our dressing room. Having worked with him at Man City at the beginning of his career, myself and Glenn have looking forward to having him here at Bradford City, and I'm sure you'll join us in wishing him a warm welcome to our club." I do welcome him, and I hope he does well, obviously, like any other signing we have. But I have my pessimism towards the signing of, he's an old player, and to play alongside Smallwood, it will work. I'm convinced that it won't work. But it'll be interesting to see what it would have been like, how the team would have set up against Carlisle, on Saturday, and see, if we stuck with a diamond, and that's what we wanted to play from now to the end of the season. Because I think Talaji Bull is the type of player who can play that role better than Folds and Halliday. Be up as a left-sided winger almost, and hopefully give us that bit more technical understanding of the game higher up the pitch. So hopefully that would happen. But Smallwood and Clayton in the same midfield together, it's definitely a no-no for me. But Mark Hughes knows better than me, and he probably knows better from you as well. So let me know your thoughts on all the players in the comments down below. One thing I haven't talked about, but I'll briefly touch on it because it's a rumour that happened Thursday, Wednesday, and it's completely false by the sounds of it. Cook to Wrexham. It wouldn't have really made sense for Wrexham whether to go for a striker or not. I don't care. As long as it ain't Andy Cook. I'm a bit critical of Andy Cook. I think we play better without him, but there's no misunderstanding that he's our top goal scorer, and we need him in our team because there's a player who can come off the bench, or if Vadian Oliver goes on a bad run, we need someone to come in and take those shoes, and someone who's got 16 goals this season in the league, or in all competitions, has got 16 either way. We need a player like Andy Cook in our team, and he's feared by the league, and so is Vadian Oliver. I mean, you hear the commentators talk about him every game. So yeah, it was an interesting one. Hughes said he's a confidence player, took him out when he won a bad run, because he had a bad run, goal drought last season. Was it February, March time when we weren't playing so well and he won? So I can see his point on that, but then not at the same time. That Vadian Oliver came out in the press saying that he were considering leaving, so there were pressure on him to bring him in, and others like Sutton. So I think it's a mix of both there, but we need depth, and Cook gives us that direct replacement to Oliver. That's why we won't play them together. And same for Oliver. If Oliver comes on, he's a direct replacement for Cook. Slightly different, but very same similarities. He's our top scorer, so I would get rid of him, and then his contract's up at the end of the season. So whether he goes then and we're getting a better option, a younger option for cover to Oliver, because Oliver's on a 3-year deal. So obviously Oliver's fancied by Hughes. Obviously it's his striker, it's the one he prefers. So whether bringing a like-for-like player for Oliver, but a younger version, we'll see what happens in the summer. But there's a long time till then. There's a load of games to come. Obviously the game got called off Saturday, so it's another Tuesday game. So we'll have to see. I don't know why the game couldn't be played next Saturday. Because we don't play, because us and Walsall in the FA Cup and we aren't. But I don't know if Carlisle still are. There might be, so I might be completely wrong on that. But let me know your thoughts on all the signings we've made, all the two. And let me know on Andy Cook. Would you have got rid of him? I doubt it's a yes, but if it is, then tell me why. But I think the general consensus is it's a no, and the players, the fans who don't want him in the team is because we see that Oliver. We create more and we're a better team with Oliver, but it don't mean we don't want Cook. It just means we think Oliver's a better player. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on Clayton coming in, Folds going out on loan, and Talaji Bowler coming in, and anything else you want to tell me in the comments down below. Have a good one.